Khai Anwar.
Yes, Nazri.
There's that actor voice.
Yeah.
You are a man of many things, Khai Anwar.
Okay. Why do you have to call my full name? That's so weird.
That's when you know I'm talking about it like seriously.
Yeah. Thank you, Nats the Nats.
You run a media company.
I do.
You run an event space.
I do.
You have a tech solutions provider company.
I do.
You produce comedy shows locally.
I do.
You have put out different publications in terms of comics and children's books.
Mm-hmm. I've never written well, it's not out yet, but yes, I guess so.
In your own words, Kai, who are you and what do you do?
I will let you know when I find out. In my own words, who am I and what do I do? I like to think of myself as somebody who pushes the, I wouldn't say proverbial envelope, but pushes boundaries quite a bit, because I always believe in doing something that's new and not been done before. So who am I? I think I'm just a dude that gets challenged by impossibility. Like when, take any one of those things, running a tech company, when we first started out, like it's coming to 10 years since we started it, there was nobody who thought we could do it. And yet everybody thought we could do it. Nobody came up and said, here's $100,000 because I believe in you. And yet every single person that met the team said, oh, these guys are onto something big. You know, when we were starting Tebuanman, I think a lot of people couldn't process that there was going to be a Bruneian superhero done in a respectable manner.
Yeah.
Everything else,
a locally produced comic book.
Yeah. With a mythology behind it. I think everything at that point that was considered Bruneian superhero was very kitschy and cheesy and just hokey.
Were there anything else before Tebuanman?
In different mediums. There was a Body Man, of course.
Oh, Body Man.
Everybody knows about Body Man. And then there was...
Did you know the guy in Body Man was my barber?
No way. Yeah. Where? At Holmes?
No, he was in Batu Satu. There was a tiny barber shop there.
No way. That's so crazy.
He was cutting my hair for the years and years before that. And I remember him telling me
that he was in a movie.
Yeah, it's like, hey, saya, dalam film.
Saya dalam film. So Bruneian.
Because he was an Indian guy as well.
Oh,
and,
he played the genie.
Yes.
Dude, he's the pioneer. This dude is... So here's a fun fact. I had seen him in Body Man as the genie. And a couple of years later, I'm playing a druggie on an RTB show, and he plays my dad.
Wow.
It's so crazy. And in between, I had seen him at his kedai runcit in Sumbiling Lama.
He's got kedai runcit.
He's got a kedai runcit too. He's a tycoon, this guy.
Dude, he is a hustler.
He is a hustler. Yeah. And so I saw him, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, you're in that movie. And he was so proud of that. I'm like, and I would never take that away from him.
He was super proud of it.
Yeah,
he was telling me, he said, I just finished shooting.
Yeah.
This new superhero movie, Body Man.
Oh, damn.
And I was just like, wow. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know how legit it was at the time.
Yeah. And then it came out.
And then it came out, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, so, and then I played his druggy son for an RTB drama.
Yeah.
And I remember the producer saying like, start jittering like druggies do. I'm like, druggies don't jitter. Yeah. And he's like, how would you know that?
I don't know. I don't know these things. My friend told me.
I grew up in the ghetto.
Oh, wow. What else? So walk me through it again. It's got its own mythology.
It does have its own mythology. I built it inspired by, our ancient, because we have a tribal like warrior history. Brunei, we have warriors. We had Onyx Mountain and the many tribes. So I basically reflected that in Tebuanman, where there was a different tribe inspired by an animal. There was the wasp tribe. There was the bear tribe. All the animals that we have in Brunei. And so I think when the first issue came out, people were like, "Oh, they're not going to go farther than this. Like this is the farthest they'll go." Yeah. Then COVID hit, right? And the script was done like 2 weeks before COVID came out. But who the hell was going to go to a bookstore to buy a comic book? So we waited 8-9 months before issue 2 came out, and people were like, "Oh my God, these guys are alive!" And issue 2 did so well because that was the backstory of the villain. And they were like, oh my God, they used like ancient Brunei, Temburong, and the whole thing. So
it's just something they could relate to.
It is something they could relate to. And we were the first I think, work of fiction, whether it was film, video, it didn't matter, to include the Temburong Bridge.
Oh, because okay, that's one of the more newer
we were the
landmarks.
first work of fiction to include it. And I remember when Dewan Bahasa had a look at it, they go, how did you draw this? No one knows what it looks like.
Yeah.
And Adi was like, oh, you can go Google, look at like the main photos, and you can figure out the rest.
Fair enough, man. That's the hustle right there.
Yeah. So yeah, everything I do, it's because I would like to push the envelope a bit and see how far we can take each of these little corners in Brunei. Like that's I think who I am. Like,
if you had to sort of scratch that surface a little deeper.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Let me get my
let me get my
tea.
Let me get my chamomile tea.
Is it chamomile or chamomile?
I call it chamomile.
Fact check. Chamomile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, how do you say it? Milo or Milo?
Minum Milo anda jadi sehat dan
it's
kuat.
Milo.
It's
dude.
Milo. I say Milo. I say Milo.
Yeah.
But the song is Minum Milo, right?
Yeah, that's the dumb part. Okay, do you say router or router?
Router.
Router. Okay.
But that's like a American British thing, though. Right?
Yeah. It's do you say route or route?
Take me on the fastest route. Yeah.
Route. Okay,
route,
great. We're on the same page. People say route.
Route. Take me on the same route.
Ugh. It's weird, Canadians.
Ugh.
Canada.
Cute South Park song. Blame Canada.
Hello, Terrence. Hello, Philip.
I just want you to know you've just lost our Canadian listenership.
Yeah. Justin Trudeau. I'm so sorry, my friend.
So if we could just scratch the surface a little bit here, my guy.
Yes, my friend.
I know pushing the envelope is definitely one of your, driving factors.
Yeah.
But why are you juggling so many things?
This is a very complex question. It's a very existential question, if I may add. We're not actually recording, are we?
Already, brother.
We're recording.
Already.
No way.
The whole
well
time.
Done.
Yes.
Well
we
done.
nailed it, team.
Well done.
Sir. Did you think we were just...
Yeah, I thought this was practice. Wow. This is good. Oh, wow. Brought to you by... This is such a complex existential question. It's multifaceted, like anything. Like I could ask you the same thing. Like what motivates you? Sorry, just so we're keeping track of Nazir's careers right now. Radio DJ.
So annoying.
No, please. Radio DJ, my favorite magician in the country, a fitness coach / fitness instructor. He is also going to be a podcast host soon. Okay.
Exciting.
And that is just 4 out of, I want to say 6 things that you do on a regular basis. Okay. The fifth one being, no, I'm keeping track. All right. The 5th one is as MC, master of ceremonies, you do the whole public speaking thing.
Like you're my friend or something.
And number 6, obviously, is son, father, husband, right? That's nice, just a nice seg.
Yeah.
So I know a lot about your childhood, and that's the formative years. That's what put you on this path.
But Khai, this podcast isn't about me. I love how you're trying to turn it on me. And honestly, yeah, I think I definitely have daddy issues. I definitely have insecurities. I think I had identity issues growing up as well. I think later in my life, it really took me a long time to really figure out who I was and what I wanted to be and the person I wanted to be and the things I wanted to do. So those are really, I think, defining factors for me about why I do certain things. Okay. But why do you do? Okay. Why do you feel like you have to juggle multiple things?
All right. Before I answer that, I just wanted to say, dude, this is a personal thing. I've been waiting for you to get this podcast started for the longest time. So I just want to say it right now, dude. Whatever led you to this path, I think I say this for everybody else, couldn't be prouder of you.
Thank you very much. Okay? That means a lot coming from you, man. I really appreciate it.
For sure. I hope you know every single gone through in your life.
Timestamp that, please. We got to beep that out. Sorry. Don't apologize.
Every single horse manure you've gone through.
That's not my job. That's Anas's job.
Anas the ganas.
That's the ganas.
So I think, if all of that led you here, made you the person that you are, that we all love and root for, then I'm glad those things happen.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
And that is time for me. I'll see you guys in another installment. No, I'm just kidding. So it's a multifaceted question. Why do I juggle so many things? I think there is an overarching answer. Like when you watch a TV show, there's a thread that runs through the season. And then there's the episodic answer, right? So I'll give you the episodic answer first. If my life was a TV show.
So in this episode right now.
The pilot of this entire thing, if my life was a TV show, so the pilot is that I grew up extremely impoverished.
Okay.
Like my late father, and like God bless his soul, he was a great father. He was a great father. Like I will defend that, but he was not a great businessman.
Okay.
And after he quit his government job when I was about 8 years old, we went through, I think, one of the harshest periods any family could go through, which is like full bankruptcy, right? So that was really tough on us as kids. And this was a time when like the definition of a childhood was changing. Like it was no longer playing outside; it was video games. Like you had computers, video games, entertainment, and we missed out on all of that. We couldn't like we had a PlayStation that lasted us, I want to say, 10 years before we could even think about getting like a PlayStation 2. At which point the PlayStation 3 has been out for years. You know, so you miss out on all the important cycles that your friends and peers and schoolmates had gone through. You know, you'd go to school and they'd be like, have you played the latest, Metal Gear Solid 2? And you're like, dude, I've barely like could sleep last night. You know what I mean? Like, so the pilot episode is we grew up really struggling in my formative years. And I always aspired to, and it's kind of embarrassing to say this. I feel self-conscious when I say it, but I know I shouldn't. I've always aspired to greatness. Yeah. Like my dad, he's gone now, and he bowed his head everywhere he went. He always submitted to people. I am of the firm belief that you don't submit to people, you submit to God. You know, he always submitted to people. Somebody always had power over him. And he took that because he had a family to raise. He had kids to raise. And he always let people walk over him. People took advantage of him. And I remember getting so angry as a kid, seeing that happen to my father. Like there are people I still see in their 50s and 60s. And I remember them taking advantage of my dad. And it takes every cell in my body from not punching them. Yeah. You know, because now that he's gone, like I feel like these people took advantage of him while he lived. And when he's gone, they just go, we're so sorry for your loss.
So easy for them to just say.
Yeah, it's just so easy for them to say. So on a principle level, it's because I grew up poor and struggling, and I saw what people did to my dad and my mom. That kind of sparked this thing, as I know, like all of you will be sorry you ever did that. Right? So the pilot episode, the inciting incident.
This is your supervillain story.
It's my supervillain story. I never say superhero. Is that because we had nothing, I wanted to show people I had the ability to do everything. Yeah. And I think that's like a statement of itself. Like because people always ask me like, is there anything you can do? Is like, I try not to. I can't do music. I suck. I picked up guitar again a couple of weeks ago. I think you know this.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. It's like,
but you're trying.
I'm trying. It's like the one thing I really want, which is to be able to play music. It's like God's like, no, that's enough. You know, like you do enough. And since then, so if the pilot episode started when I was a kid, in the years since then, I've had to come to a lot of realizations. And the two tenets that have defined my growing up, so there's the child and the years I was a teenager, was that I will never, ever be a Bruneian.
Okay.
Like I'm not a Bruneian. I'm a foreigner. And so it's a sense of like, do
you mean that in the
legal term, like the yellow IC? Okay. I'll never get a yellow IC. I would never even get a red IC. I'm a green. And it's just like, all right, you will deny me like my birthright. Like, cause I'm very existential. I remember thinking if there was ever a country where I want to be buried, it's here. Cause I was born here.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, fine, I will never get that yellow IC, but I will literally make my mark on everything. So that's kind of like the teenage Khai. As an adult though, as I know, I came back to Brunei and I started doing the business. It's because...
Came back to Brunei from?
College, Malaysia.
Yeah.
It's so cheesy. It's because I got my heart broken.
Okay.
And I wanted to prove to this girl that I can do everything. And, you're going to be sorry, So, like, the 3-act structure is childhood, identity, and heartbreak.
Yeah.
Right? Which I'm over the last one. Like, I'm so over the last one, but I'm too deep at this point to, like, give up. But the first two are they're deeply rooted. And I think the overarching message of the season is death. It just went there.
Worried about it? Or?
No. Like, I'm perfectly fine with death. But it's just one day I will die. And when I die... I want people around me to say, well, you know what? The dude lived.
Yeah.
He did so much.
Yeah.
And that's the thread through the show. And that's the one that sometimes I go like...
It's a little deep for you.
I wouldn't say it hits. I mean, I'm numb to the whole thing, but I know people like, wow, like that's kind of sad. Like you're thinking about death. But yeah, like you always should.
Yeah.
It's like every day, like, I don't know if it was a movie that said this. It's like you start dying the day you're born.
Whoa.
It's like, whoa. Yeah. So I think that's what.
Okay. Yeah. I got to fact check that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what motivates me, man. It's like legit, like this is it. Like it's never been easy and still not, but I know what made me and I know what makes me.
We all know all the things that you do, right? So you do the whole, you had a comic book shop.
I did. And it's still one of my greatest successes.
Comics,
Yeah.
You do all these things. I see you as this universal businessman.
Thank you. Not many people say that.
Yeah. There's a line from Jay-Z that says, I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman, not a businessman.
Yeah.
Is that something that you can relate to?
This is a question that I have had to ask myself, right? It's you have to value yourself at a certain point. And I learned this from you this year, by the way. Yeah. Who's right there behind the camera, just judging me. I would like to think my name means something.
Okay.
I think every human being does. Like from
purpose.
Yes, from the day you're born, if you start dying, then from the day you start living, you start seeking purpose. Like that's how I see it.
That needs to be on a T-shirt, right? From the day you're born, you start dying, and then
the day you start living, you're seeking purpose. Yeah. So good. Purpose is the name of a porpoise. I'm just kidding.
Please don't. Please, we don't need a fact check for that one.
So for me, it's like, it would be really nice for your name itself to mean something.
Yeah.
Right? And I actually know that line. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that line.
I handle my business, man.
Yeah. I don't think that's something I aspire to or something I want to be, but it will be nice if it happens by accident.
Yeah.
Like I would like for example, and I'm not just throwing this back at you just because you're the host or you're my friend, but like, you have a reputation, and like I can say this on camera, like you don't just take everything that comes your way. Like you're known for this, dude. Like some people call you picky.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that one.
No. People go like, Nazri's picky. I'm like, he's not picky, he's selective. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Picky is a negative connotation. Selective means you make an informed decision. And it would be nice for, the name Khai or Khai Rule, as my legal name is, to mean something like quality or assurance, something. It'll be nice. But I don't think that's something I look at.
What do you think if your name would represent an emotion or a value, what would it be?
It's attitude. Like I have a very famous temper. I'm also known to be very vindictive.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'm not just wearing this Batman shirt because it's it's Halloween. It's
because you're vengeance.
Oh, such a great film.
Let's not sidetrack.
Yeah,
Let's not sidetrack.
I can gush about that film all day. I am very vengeful. But it's not like, dude, it's like people misunderstand anger. They're just like, oh, he's always so bitter all the time. Like people think anger is just being bitter all the time. No, anger is a driving force, right? And it's also a very destructive force.
Yeah.
It's locking it up in a box and only using it when you feel you're being attacked. When you feel someone's taking advantage of it. For me, anger is, I wouldn't like cross the road and just want to punch someone. Like that's just psycho. Like, that's just psychopathic behavior. For me, anger is like, okay, I'm being taken advantage of. Someone has abused my friendship, whatever that is, like whatever. Time to unleash the anger to make a destructive decision. Like, how do I destroy that person? And I can count on one hand how many times I've had to do this, because it is like, anger for me is the nuclear option. Like, if I go like, I'm going to destroy that person, and I mean that. It's not a door I open all the time. Hey, you in there? Like, I don't do that a lot. So I think people tend to know that I have, because I'm a businessman, because every single little endeavor that has my name on it or I'm involved in, the number one time they call me is when they need a problem fixed. And a lot of times is because I'm in the service industry, like you said, media, advertising, production, tech. Like if I have to go somewhere, it's not because it's a good thing. It's just like, oh, we got a problem. So I'll start making phone calls and I start calling like, people and be like, hey, what is this? So I think right now the name Khai stands for that.
Would that be synonymous with problem solver?
Fixer. I think fixer. Yeah. Problem solver implies, for me, problem solving is a very level-headed approach.
Okay.
Like you have to be level-headed to be a problem solver. Like a math equation. I would burn mathematics if I could. Like I hate maths. So I'm more of a fixer.
Okay.
You know, it's a more street term, street cred.
So with all the businesses that you own, co-own, that you do, was this something you always envisioned that you were going to jump into? Or was this something that was part of your upbringing? Because I know your dad had a convenience store as well. Was this, and I know you used to work there when you were growing up.
Yeah, I did.
So, was this something that you felt was, because it is your life, you have to step in? Or was this something you always saw, you're like, you know what? There's this new idea that I don't think anyone's doing. I should totally jump in on this.
So this is very good question, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I love.
I try, Kai. I try.
Yes. So picky.
I try. You're so picky, Kai.
So picky, Naz. For me, I've had two moments of like when I truly opened. Like I felt like my eyes had been opened. Both of them came at the age of 15. Mm-hmm. I was living in Kiangge at the time. And the reason why they both happened at the age of 15 is because how far can we go with details in this show?
As deep as you want to go, my guy.
So one of my cousins was a drug dealer.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kai. Yeah.
He was a notorious drug dealer.
Okay.
And he's obviously been arrested, deported, the whole shebang. But I saw how much power he had through money.
Okay.
He had a lot of money on him at every time. Mm-hmm. And he would get away with a lot of things. And so I started to learn about the construct of power.
Okay.
About how much privilege it brings you.
It's very Scarface-esque, by the way.
That is my favorite film.
Okay.
And as I was understanding that, I was reading a book, Believe It or Not, by Donald Trump.
Okay.
This was before he was known as President Donald Trump. He was just known as the guy from The Apprentice.
Yeah.
There was a brashness to his inherited wealth and power that he used in all his books that I thought was, this is what it must be like to not care about consequences. So it was a very so I equated power to money, and I saw it as the opposite. Like if you had money, you get, what Scarface is.
Yeah.
First you get the money, then you get the power.
Yeah.
But for me, power wasn't meant to rule. It was meant to cement security. Because we were we were on shaky ground when I was a teenager. I thought if we had power, we would have more stability, like things at home. I will walk through fire for my parents, but they fought a lot when I was a kid. And I mean, fought a lot. Mm-hmm. Things were explosive at home. And now, my dad's gone, and you don't think of that. You don't think of the fact that they used to be fighting. They were separated twice when I was growing up. You don't think of that. You just think of the fact that my father's gone. But life is, it's a look back at everything, the good and the bad. And so there were a lot of times where I would get so frustrated with things at home. I'd just be like, man, if I ever do this business thing, I'm going to do it right. Because they were fighting over what I looked at to be pebbles in a world filled with boulders. It's just a kadadunchit, man. What are you fighting about?
Yeah.
They would go days without talking to each other, and I just thought it just made things at home so tough. And that side of me that grew more and more conscious about money, power, and status in society came from this triumvirate of things that I had witnessed. And so that was always at the back of my mind. Like, no matter, I was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
I was going to be a doctor. I even studied some medicine. That's how stereotyped like my family was. And I remember thinking you gotta have that. You gotta have some power and respect. Otherwise, people are just going to do what they did to my dad, and things at home will never be okay. The other awakening I had was more wholesome, way more wholesome than thinking about society as a structure built on power and exploitation, is Batman Begins. Believe it or not, I was, in my head, I was like, I was going to be a doctor, but maybe I may run a business on the side.
I'm going to be a doctor, but I also might be a crime-fighting superhero.
No. It's so close. I went to watch Batman Begins with my best friend Jim, June 14, 2005. It was Wednesday. And I walked out for the first time in my life going, I don't want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I wanted to make movies.
What was it about Batman Begins?
It was the simplicity.
For the people that are tuning in right now, and they're like, which one was Batman Begins?
Batman Begins was the very first, it was the beginning of the modern day superhero drama.
Yeah.
It was directed by Christopher Nolan with a script by David Goyer. I can even tell you who was the cameraman. Now, that's how much I love this movie. And
This was Christian Bale's first
ever.
Yeah.
And it was the best one out of the three, in my opinion. I know the Joker one gets a lot of like respect. Great film, but I thought Batman Begins, it had everything against it. The last film in the franchise was George Clooney. You know, Spider-Man had destroyed the box office the year before. You know, that first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. Like nobody wanted a dark and greedy superhero film.
Yeah.
And this film comes out and it just, like that's the blueprint for Iron Man right there. That film that started the MCU, in my opinion, they were watching Batman Begins.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And so you watch that, you go, there's this director out there right now making this. And I walked out, turning to Jim going, I want to make movies. Yeah. And that was it. It was like this parallel awakening I had when I was 15 that have kind of, I pushed one. So there's a saying in, I think it's, I could be wrong if I'm misquoting this, in Native American.
Can I guess? Is it the one about the wolves?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
You know, so it's, I want to get this right.
Yeah, do it.
Is that an elder man is telling a younger child that everybody has two wolves inside them. One is bitterness, resentment, jealousy, anger. The other one is peace, negative and positive, good wolf, bad wolf. And the kid asks, which one am I? And the older man says, whichever one you feed.
For sure. Beautiful.
Right?
I love that.
And I find myself, it's been 17 years since then, I fed one wolf a lot. Power, structure, money.
Yeah.
I fed that one maybe a bit too much.
What made you feed that wolf the most? Was it, you know, I'm guessing, you know, seeing the environment at home? Was it seeing, you know, like you said, your friends at school were obviously, you know, getting more like PlayStation 2s?
I went to St. George's. It is a bit painful to admit this, but I never paid for my school fees at St. George's. I was a charity case.
Okay.
Paid for by a local bank.
Okay.
Because my grades were good. Nerd. It's like a lot of my friends were always asking like, why don't I ever see you go pay your school fees? Why don't I ever see you go get a school fee receipt? And I always say like, oh, I'm on a merit scholarship. But it was not a merit scholarship. It was a need-based scholarship. Okay. And I was one of 5 poor kids in St. George's getting it. And it was quite embarrassing to admit this in St. George's because kids were coming in Mercedeses, you know? And my dad would come in his broken down Datsun and he would pick me up.
That Datsun nowadays, my guy.
Yeah, it's worth a lot.
Yeah.
It had a cameo in Kopi. So, you know.
Shameless plug.
Sorry.
That's fine. We're going to talk about it later.
You know, so I fed that because that felt like what was I going to do? Make movies? It's funny I'm saying that now, but there was no path for me. And I tried. I went to LA. I met very powerful people. I wrote great scripts. I met great friends. Just wasn't meant for me. So it was always like easier to feed the other wolf. Start something new. Partner up with someone.
Out of all the things that you've done, that you've ventured into, that you've started, that you've, you know, built, which brings you the most joy, you think?
Believe it or not, it's that stupid comic book store.
Yeah? Fanboys Infinite?
Fanboys Infinite. Like, I'm so sad it's gone. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm happy with all the people I work with. I'm happy with everything I've done. But inside, I'm just a boy who wanted to read comic books.
Yeah.
But couldn't afford to.
We all were, man.
Yeah. So I do sometimes feel like whenever, like even when Fanboys was around, there would be days when I couldn't go there because of work. And I like couldn't do this. I hadn't gone there in a week and I'd go there for like a week later and I would still be so happy to be there.
Yeah.
You know, while it was around. And I think Fanboys is something that opened the floodgates. People were like, well, this idiot's opening a comic book store. You know, like it's not something you open in Brunei. You open a fast food joint. You open like a froyo joint.
You opened up, correct me if I'm wrong, Fanboys Infinite after you got back from KL.
I did. And my parents didn't know I had dropped out of school.
This was on the cinema level of the mall where whatever accessories is right now.
No. So see that we've had a discussion on IG.
Oh yeah.
So Fanboys was born when that store closed down.
What was that then?
Go Figure Collectibles.
That's it. It was Go Figure. You had a very similar logo. It's that bandana.
Yeah. So what happened was, at the age of 21, I won. So, oh man, I didn't
even know this. I thought it was Fanboys from the get-go.
No.
Okay.
So at the age of 21, I had gone through a very dark episode. 20. I wasn't even 21. Life-threatening episode.
Okay.
a couple of times in a couple of weeks while I was overseas. And it really made you wonder. It really made you wonder about, obviously I was a back then. And I was like, oh, it makes you realize about love, you know? So I started falling hard for this one person. But I also wondered about what legacy I would leave.
Yeah.
So I came back to Brunei for the summer holidays, 2011. And I got roped into writing a book called Business Icons.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that book.
Yeah.
Jing Chu was one
There
of the people.
you go.
Waho as well.
was in there.
Got
Like
it.
top 10 influential. They were the original influencers.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And I wrote a huge chunk of that.
Okay.
And I found one thing in common. Nobody had a college degree.
Okay.
Everyone was like, I moved here from, Sarawak when I was 17. I'm like, 17? I had an afro when I was 17.
Yeah.
You start comparing your journey to this great businessman. And so when I went back to college that semester, the final 3 months, I just couldn't care.
Yeah.
I'd be in class. I just didn't care.
Because of heartbreak?
No, because of I don't want to study.
Okay.
I wanted to do things by myself. Like I had written a book and all these people, all these great people had the same thing. Like I came from nothing and I built it myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was so, it brought me full circle to that moment as a 15-year-old thinking I got to build.
Yeah.
And so I quietly one day I went up to my professor, Professor Yong. He was a nerd at heart. We both love Star Wars and Star Trek. And I go up to him and I go like, I'm at a crossroads. And he says, what is it, Khairul? And I said, sir, I don't know. I don't know if I want to stay in school. And he says, all right, wait for the class to get, wait for after class. Come to me after class. The class leaves and he sits me down and says, what's the problem? And I said, I recently wrote a book in Brunei where I chronicled the journey of 10 businessmen. And he says, okay. And I said, and I don't know if I want to stay in school. He says, okay, what do you want in life? And I said, I want to be successful. And he says, I can tell you right now, in this school, we are not building people for success. We're building people for the workforce. You want to be successful? Drop out.
Wow.
Just Professor Young. And that's not the first time that happened in my life either.
Okay.
That happened one more time later on. And he goes, just drop out. You got something in Brunei? Yeah, don't come back. Go build.
Wow.
And that's all, I literally went to the admin office and just said, hey, I remember this guidance counselor going like, oh yeah, your credit points aren't high enough for a transfer yet because it was a training program. And I said, yeah, no, I want to quit.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? And I said, I'm done. I'm going back to Brunei and I'm not coming back. And he couldn't process that. He called the dean. The dean came out and he was like, Khairul, why? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I want to go back. And so when I came back to Brunei, I had some royalty earned from the book that I wrote, right? There's a decent amount of royalty. And
Can you share how much?
Not a lot, bro. 2.5K.
Okay.
Not a lot. And I'm a gambler by philosophy. I take big risks. Like go big, go home, you know?
Yeah.
No safe bet.
Not a literal gambler.
No.
A figurative gambler.
Yeah. Like opportunity. Go for it.
I don't want people to take the soundbite out of context.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm opportunity gambling, right? So I came back and my parents didn't know. I had changed the letter, forwarding address to my friend's house. From any correspondences from the university would go to my friend's house.
Okay.
One letter made it through the system.
Okay.
So it's the middle of January, 2012, 10 years ago. And my dad's just like, when are you going back to school? I'm like, it's holiday, election season, whatever. I'm just throwing whatever I can at the wall.
Yeah. See what sticks.
4 days later, a letter arrives at home. And it says, we are sorry to see you leave the university.
We're sorry to see you go, but we love to watch you leave.
Yeah. They're like, we're sorry to see you go, but remember to return this.
Wow.
And my dad and my mom just went ballistic. What the hell are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to run a Kedai Runcit? I'm like, no, I'll run a comic book store.
Yeah.
It was at that point, I had this thing, you know what? The only thing I know in this world is comic books. I know it like the back of my hand. I'll open a store.
How did that happen? You had 2.5K from royalties.
Yeah.
And then how did it start?
I went ahead. So a couple of months had gone by. I was deliberating and everything. And Russell Knox, good guy, real estate agent.
Big Star Wars fan.
Absolutely.
One of the
501st members.
One of the 501st
Great
members.
guy.
That's right.
Russ.
He is a stormtrooper representative for Brunei.
To the 43rd Rose Parade, where he met George Lucas. Yep.
That's right.
I love being a nerd. So he was like, so what are you going to do next? You're not going back to college? I'm saying, I want to open a comic book store. And Amir Noor, a friend of mine, our friend, was working at Brunei Times, and he said, dude, can I just feature you in an article?
Yeah.
And so all I was doing was just saying I was going to open a comic book store.
Wow.
Then he prints it. He prints it on the Brunei Times as a personality feature, going, this author from Business Icons is going to open a comic book store. And the whole country was like, "Ba, open na." You know, like the whole country just went, go ahead. Dude, I was 20.
So now everyone.
Sorry, I was 21.
Now all eyes are on you.
All eyes are on me. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? I have 2.5K. You know what that buys you? Not even 2K. You know what I mean? And Russ brought me to Manglayat, and he goes like, I have a half a unit here if you're interested. And something moved inside me, and I said, I got 2.5K, I'll place a deposit.
So how did you get the money to get all the
Bro,
things?
I'm getting there. And I just go, I have 2,500. You know what the deposit was? 1.25. Half money gone, bro.
Okay.
Half the money gone. I'm like, all right, at this point, I was already kind of working with Jim, my best friend. And I was earning a couple of hundreds on the side, but it was barely enough. And I started to look at the sales report for the book, and I was getting a bit more coming in.
Okay.
Nowhere near the amount of money that you needed to build a shop that had furniture, toys. You know, you had enough money to maybe buy paint, pay contractor, pay rent.
Yeah.
Okay. And
we're not even talking stock yet.
Dude, no.
Yeah.
Like, you know what's the cost on a single action figure? It's like 25 BND.
Yeah. And that's
buying price.
That's buying price.
25 BND, you sell for 35. 25 BND, bro. One shelf, you need 50 pieces.
Well.
Okay. So I found myself in a corner. And this is like one of the instances in my life where I genuinely believe there's a God. I get a phone call from Russ 2 weeks after the article comes out, about a week after I agreed to rent his unit. He says, Alex, the owner of Go Figures wants to talk to you. He wants to let go of his business. And that, if I had to trace back to the birth of the hustler, that was that moment.
Yeah.
I say, give my number. And I get a phone call from Alex. Wonderful man, Alex Chong. He calls me and says, hey, listen, I'm planning to close down. Do you want to grab a drink today? Right? I go up to TK Manglayat.
Okay.
21-year-old, wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt and long hair.
Yeah.
And this seasoned businessman is sitting across me. And I insist to buy him a drink. Okay? With like $8 in my wallet.
Show a bit lah.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah. And he says, I'm going to level with you. My heart's not in this. I'm an engineer. This business was a family business that I took over after my brother left. Buy me out.
Okay. What was the figure?
25,000.
Oh, for all the stock.
Everything. Just buy me out for 25K. Bro, I had $1,200.
Yeah. $8 in your wallet.
Okay, so but the 1,002 I never touch.
Yeah.
This one is cash, $8 cash from my side gigs lah. And I said, sure.
Oh my gosh.
I said, sure. But I said, I'm not paying you 25,000 up front.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to your shop tomorrow with my partner, my friend Miro. I said, I'm going to go to your shop tomorrow and I'm going to tell you what I want and I'll make you an offer on everything else. Okay? That was the moment Hustler Khai was born. After that meeting, I called all my friends and said, guys, I think I just acquired a business. And they're like, with what money? And I said, none.
Yeah.
So next day, I go to Go Figure Mall, right? And I point out the exact things I wanted. And that amounted to $8,000 after discounts. He was slashing prices.
Yeah.
Like if it cost me 25 per action figure, it was giving it to me for 15.
Okay.
Right? So it's 8,000. Again, that I have none of.
Okay.
And I said, I'll buy this for 8,000 and I'll make you a deal. You put everything else in my shop on consignment. I sell, you earn money. Right?
It's a great way to go about it.
Right? The problem is I now needed $8,000.
Oh my gosh, Khai. Okay? It's like you're playing with fire at the moment. This makes me so uncomfortable.
Dude, I started the fire and I was playing with it.
Yeah.
You know? And I left the, feeling pumped up. I had $6 left. Nasi ayam, like pati, live big. And I was expecting some book royalties to come in. I figured I would be able to pay half. Then I got the news that the book royalties weren't going to get paid.
Why?
I can't really talk about that.
Okay.
For
now.
Turns out,
yeah,
I literally just had the $1,250 that I had on me.
Okay.
and things were getting to a head. Like I was in over my head for sure, and I got rejected. Love putus. She rejected me after 1 year of me talking to her, falling for her, you know, all the rubbish.
All these things just when it rains, it pours.
Dude, when it rains, it's tsunami, bro.
Yeah.
In the Khai Anwar story. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just gutted, but I was trying to get back on my feet, you know. And at this point, I was past the grace period to have the shop. I had to pay rent already.
Okay.
I had $1,250 and rent was $650.
Okay.
So I didn't even have. So if you pay $650, you get $600. So next month I'm $50 short for rent. I'm trying to remember the landlord's name, but Mr. Shim.
Okay.
He texted me and said, "Hey, you're due rent." I said, "I'll pay you." So I pay $650.
So you have 600 left in the
I
bank.
have $600 left in the bank.
You've got an $8,000.
I have 1
bill.
month. I have about a month left, right? Before I have to come up with 50 and pay the other 6. I got an $8,000 bill and the month goes by like lightning. I don't have the 8,000. The small things I was gonna do, there was a little quick, like there was a very quick consultancy thing that I was gonna do that was gonna get me like $2,000 fell through. Like dude, I was hustling so hard. I was a teacher. I was teaching business, A-level business. Only earned me $430. You know? Whew. So at the end of the month, I had 1,030. And Raya coming up, so Baju Raya, you know.
Black also, because
no,
black.
this year I said no. This year cannot sial, so I wear blue that year.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And Mr. Shim texts me again, and it has come to the second
month already.
I pay. And
so you just had a unit sitting there
for 2 months, and then I said no, time to take charge.
Yeah.
And again, it's as if God was moving through, and I get a call from Alex, and he says, "Hey, Kyril, it's been 2 months. I was wondering because I'm permanently shuttering everything, moving things to a warehouse. Do you have the money?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Alex, I don't.
Yeah.
But can we meet?" Okay. So hustle number 2. I sat down with him at, I want to say, Grande Snacks in Kulap, in Manglait, where Fly and Butter is now.
Yes. Okay.
And he says, "Are you having money problems?" I said, "I do." He says, "Tell you what, why don't we partner up?" And I go, "Okay." He says, "I have a lot of orders that people pre-ordered. Hot Toys, very expensive brand.
I have a few.
I know you do." He says, "These are a very expensive brand, and the total amount that I'm bringing in the next year, because you have to pre-order this a year in advance, is like 60K.
Oh, must be nice. I see 3 Hot Toys on your shelf right
Those
there.
are the premiums." And he says, "Those are 60K. I need a place for people to pay and pick these up." And it's like immediately that Khai who was worried about money died.
Disappeared.
I go, "Alex, I will cut you in right now on a 30% partnership," because I had another partner, Miro. "I will pay you monthly like profits or quarterly profits whenever we make a profit. I will not charge a single dime on your Hot Toy sales. 60,000 goes straight to you. But I want to absorb every other inventory you have.
Yeah.
I take everything you have. We split the sales. You make your money on Hot Toys. It doesn't cost me a dime."
Look at you. What do you think made you come up with these ideas? Because for most people, they wouldn't have that know-how, that knowledge to sort of say these things or offer this deal. What made you talk like that? What made you say the things you said?
It's my survival instinct.
Okay.
I've been thinking about my journey a lot, like especially now, it's 10 years this year since I started this hustle journey. I think it's my survival instinct. Like I'm like, dude, I will do really well in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like no mercy. So like when I was sitting there, I just went, I have to survive.
Yeah.
This man has to eat, right? Straight up, I just said 30%. I'll pay you quarter, monthly, doesn't matter. You will earn a profit from this. I will take every item of inventory you have, even a paper clip, I'll take it. Because, they had like Harry Potter paper clips.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'll take every single thing. You fill up my store, doesn't cost me a dime. I will work day and night to get you your money back.
Okay.
And he says, let's do it. And I drafted the contract. And this is why I do all the legal stuff in all my companies.
Okay.
I learned the legal language of contracts at that age.
Yeah.
I was like, how do I draft a partnership agreement? And I learned every clause to make sure, because this was a man with resources. And he's a great man. He would never come for me.
Yeah.
He would never bring me to court. But one day in my life, I said, what if somebody does bring me to court? And that already happened at some point.
Okay.
So I learned the legal language of contracts to make sure there was nothing there that he could use against me if he wanted to.
Okay.
So I drafted a contract and the three of us signed it. And in 48 hours, my shop was packed. His furnitures came through. He gave me the furnitures.
Wow.
And my father, my late father, was there moving stuff in with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we had, as I counted, $30,000 in stock. And it cost me nothing.
So this is the one that brings you the most joy.
Absolutely.
If we switch gears a little bit,
The one that makes me the most depressed.
which is the one that brings you the most security?
Security?
Yeah.
You mean financial, emotional?
Financial. I think just life.
Tech.
Yeah.
That's the one that I really had to learn properly.
Okay.
Like, I don't know tech. I really had to, like, I think sometimes, off this, I tell you how I've memorized the tender language. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when you do tenders, you have to memorize their words. You have to memorize the language. Tech.
That will sort of be wins.
Yeah. Tech for sure is the one that brings me the most security.
Do you think that's the thing that people should look into? Or is that something that's always evergreen? It's something that's a growing industry?
It's not going to grow beyond a certain level here in Brunei.
Yeah.
Because there's still so much more to be done.
Yeah.
I think the fastest growing one, in my opinion, is advertising and content creating.
Okay.
Because video production is taking off left and right. It's like the new space race. Tech is not for everybody, and I really wouldn't recommend you going into it unless you're willing to weather the storms. Because, dude, it's almost 10 years for tech. It's been a good 5 years, but it was a terrible first 5.
Okay.
Like, there were talks of shutting it down.
Okay.
So
we've touched on some things here.
Okay.
Anyone who knows you knows for a fact that you are a movie lover.
Yes.
One of their biggest critics.
Yes.
One of their biggest fans. So I have a few quick fire questions about movies.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Best movie ever.
You mean objectively or my favorite? Best movie ever made?
Yeah.
Citizen Kane.
Why?
Structure. Because the narrative structure they use is they put you in an investigative position. You're trying to find the truth. And at the end, the truth is literally
Out there.
The truth is literally so insignificant. It makes you look for this MacGuffin, this golden fleece, so to speak. And then you go, and that's the movie that I curse the most. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're like, but it's such a journey.
Okay.
Citizen Kane, objectively. Or
Best actor.
Best actor, Al Pacino.
Really?
Absolutely.
I thought you were going to say Tom Cruise.
Great movie star.
Okay.
As an actor, range, charisma, Al Pacino.
Okay. Why?
Not only has he done we know now him as the gruff old man.
Yeah.
He's like, but 70s, 80s, Al Pacino did anything and everything under the sun. He played romantic films, drug movies, Godfather, Scarface, he did everything. And he's so enigmatic in everything he does that there's a scene in The Godfather 2 where he's already estranged from, Diane Keaton's character, which is his wife.
Yeah.
And he's just standing in the doorway like he's the devil.
Yeah.
And my mom jumped
Really?
at the intensity in his eyes. Because we were watching it it's a CRT TV, but it was a big CRT TV. She goes, oof, she's so scary.
Yeah.
And my mom is a Bollywood person. For her to watch this movie and think, she could read that message, that aura, that vibe, it just tells you what
Bollywood's all about the eyes.
Yeah, it's the eyes.
The features.
And it's this triangle here, the golden triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that Al Pacino is the best actor.
In my opinion.
Tom Cruise was the best
Movie star.
Yeah. Was the best Tom Cruise movie ever.
The best Tom Cruise movie is Born on the 4th of July.
Oh, wow. I blindsided. I totally did not see that one coming.
Everyone will say Mission Impossible, Born on the 4th of July is a gut-wrenching movie.
That's the one with the wheelchair scene and all. I remember that. I've watched that once and that scene just stuck out to me so badly.
I can't go to the bathroom. Oh my God, dude. That was amazing. Oliver Stone. I love that film.
Oh man, I haven't heard about that movie in a while. Okay, best line in the movie.
Best line in the movie?
Something that you quote on the regular, something that stuck out to you, something that sets it up for you.
See, the problem with me is every movie I watch, I start acting like the main character. So this year I've been acting like Rob Pattinson's Batman.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Yeah,
just a little. I mean, hanging in the shadows and everything. Don't mind me, Khai. My battery is funky a little bit, so it's just shutting off the screen. But I'm just gonna please
no
go
worries.
ahead.
A line from a movie that I keep quoting. Oh, that's so tough, bro. That is so tough because you have it at the top of your head and you're put in a spot and you can't think. But I think it's something from La La Land that I think that really stuck with me.
Okay,
is that when Emma Stone, my favorite actress, is talking to Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Then they were arguing, and then he said, "What are you talking about? You don't even like jazz."
Yeah.
And then she said, "I like jazz because you like jazz." That
Levels.
part, dude, it's just like that's like in that little dialogue, she just summarized what it means to be in love.
Yeah.
And she also has another line in that film, like where she didn't want to do the audition at the end.
Yeah.
She said, "This one's gonna destroy me," and I felt that because I was writing scripts at the time that I was sending out to LA, and that was just before I had left.
Yeah.
I just went like, wow, because I had shut down an opportunity because if I got rejected at that, I would probably kill myself.
Oh yeah, I've definitely had moments like that. So many times.
It's like I need a genie or something.
Yeah. You are quite vocal about the movies that have been released this year.
Yes.
Best movie release of 2022.
I'm wearing the shirt. I'm really sorry, but like the Batman is phenomenal.
Right?
Not because it's a Batman film, but because it's a good movie.
Great movie. I loved it.
Yeah.
Very controversial.
The acting.
I feel movies, yes, they're moving pictures.
Yes.
But
the
I think
pictures have to look good.
Yeah. The stills need to be iconic enough that you know what movie you're looking at and what scene it was and what the emotions were, what was going to happen.
A single out of context frame should tell you the film.
For sure. That's when I know it's shot right and designed right.
Absolutely. And the Batman has so many of those.
So speaking of movies, Khai, one space that always brings a spark to your eyes is LA.
Yes.
It is a place, you met a spaceman there. You
remember that?
You had a writer's pitch over there.
Oh, did you remember the spaceman?
I do remember.
Dude, I'm so touched. I'm tearing up. Yeah. Like that's very sweet. Nobody remembers that.
You did a writer's pitch.
I did.
You also had an audition.
I did.
Let's chat a little bit if we can.
All right, go ahead.
About
which one?
Who was the spaceman you met? Tell everyone.
I met Mark Hamill. In 2017.
For the people who aren't geeks like us.
Luke Skywalker. You plebs. You barbarians. Luke Skywalker,
Ludicrous.
you uncultured swines.
Yeah.
In the year 2017, so Carrie Fisher died in 2016. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how much that affected me.
Okay.
But my friend said I barely spoke for a month. Because I love Star Wars. I absolutely love Star Wars. And at the end of 2016, one of my ventures had lost stupid amounts of money.
Okay.
It was an import-export business. Stupid amounts of money was gone. And I know for a fact, clinically depressed.
Okay.
I woke up, but my mind never left the bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I was just emotionally just distraught. And I told myself, if I keep this up, I'm not gonna live long. Right? I was overweight and I was just unhappy. And I started writing to deal with all of that. And I started writing scripts. I just wrote so many scripts. And I just sent it out. Like I was on Twitter, lurking on film Twitter, the early days of film Twitter. And I see a name on Twitter who talks about screenplays. And I just sent an email to the guy like, hey, and one person would connect me here and one person would connect me there. And I came across a platform that connected writers.
Okay.
And I just kept writing and writing and writing. And I got a couple of pitches there. These were with small junior execs in LA. And, I would pitch and they'd be like, you wrote this? Like, you're really good.
Yeah.
Like, it felt so surreal. To understand why that was is because you have to understand that kid who walked out of Batman Begins. You have to understand that kid.
Yeah.
Is that he found purpose in those frames.
Did you have a background in writing?
No.
Not at the time.
And that pisses off a lot of people.
Okay.
That pisses off so many people. I've never gone to therapy. I will never go to therapy.
Why is that?
Because as long as I have a cinema to walk into and enjoy the journey of a film, I'll be okay.
Okay.
So that's what movies are to me. Like I watch a lot, Not because I like critiquing them. I critique them if they don't like give me the journey I want. So at the end of 2016, I was just writing tons. I was writing crime dramas. I was writing science fiction. I was just writing like every genre, just flexing my fingers. And like the two that got really noticed was my science fiction story and a crime drama that I'd written, to the point where an executive from HBO asked for a pitch.
Okay.
And I was doing that via
HBO in LA.
Yeah. Okay. I was doing that via Skype back then.
Skype. That was before Skype was big.
That was before Zoom was big.
Oh yeah.
I was on Skype. Yeah.
That's the sound.
You know, I was doing that like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. My dad would wake up for Fajar and he'd hear me in my little comic writing room, just talking to like Westerners. You know, I was just be like, orang putih mana lagi ni? Like which orang putih you talking to? And I was pitching and like, everybody was like, dude, you're good. Like you have something here. How are you so raw? And I'm like, because this is what I feel. Yeah. And I remember very clearly, after that import-export business failed, I was getting way more success from the scripts in terms of recognition. Okay. And the tech firm, we were going to shut it down.
DotRoot.
Yeah. We had gone through a part where we said, if at the end of 2016, this doesn't work, we're all just going to shut it down and go get jobs. Because we were surviving on 300 a month. Okay. You know? So it just seemed so dark. Okay. There was just no future here. And, you know, January 2017 comes around. We hired 2 people, Baz and Shafi. Slowly picks up. Okay. You know, slowly picks up. I remember working on a couple of proposals at the time with my partners, and you know how these things take. They take forever. February comes around, and I said, like, at this point, I had done online mentorships with Bobby Hoppy. He used to be at Echo Lake Entertainment, which was the agency that signed Mark Hamill as a talent. Okay. Fun fact. And then I had done it with Dash Aiken at Rollmark Pictures. The science fiction script just picked up. They were just like, Kai, this is it. Like, this is the one, to be honest. Like, work on this. And I said, you know what? I need to go on this trip. I need to go on this soul-searching trip, right? Because I just felt like so lost. And I remember selling my most expensive comics, my most expensive action figures to fund this trip. This trip was originally going to be just me attending the 40th anniversary of Star Wars in Florida.
I remember.
That was all it was going to be, right? I had set my sights on LA for a while just to visit these producers and people and see if I could get something out of it. And I told my mom, like, Mom, it's going to be a one-way ticket. It was a one-way ticket. I wasn't sure if I was even going to come back alive. Like, that was how bad it was.
Wow, that's a deep, dark realization to have.
That really is. And so my mom just couldn't process that at all. Like, my mom just she said, you know what? I'm not watching you leave. So she left. I'm not even kidding. My mom's so dramatic.
Such a boss move. That's like a Bollywood move.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So she took my sister, she took my brother.
Yeah, laughed because she understood that one. Yeah. She got it, man.
She got it. She took my siblings, got on a plane to Bangladesh, and said, I'm not coming back till you're coming back.
Shut up.
Not kidding.
Drama also?
So drama.
Love it.
So drama.
She is a queen.
I love that woman.
Okay, so you end up going on this trip. You want to go for Star Wars.
I wanted to go for Star Wars. And the thing is, like, it destroys me now to think we all left my dad alone. Okay. For those few months. He cried so hard when I left.
Yeah. When you left?
He cried so hard. He was never shy about showing emotion. I don't. But he was just like, I'm sorry I failed you. Like, I'm sorry I could never give you the things you want. I'm just like, Dad, just chill, man. Like, I love you. I will see you again. Got on the plane. As all my friends saw me off. I still have pictures from that time. Yeah.
Because you weren't really sure if you were going to come back.
No, I felt so dead.
Yeah.
Got on the plane and I stayed at Changi for 12 hours. Something moved inside me to check in early. And so I went to the American Airlines counter. I took RB from here. I went to the American Airlines counter in Terminal 3. And I remember this was April 7th, 2017. Turns out, because you couldn't buy the ticket on the website, by the way. You have to be on a phone. Okay. American Airlines tickets, you have to be on the phone while you buy. Because they have to verify your identity.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So while in Brunei, I was on the phone constantly, calling the States. Yeah. Using Skype credit. Yeah. You know? So I was calling constantly, and I go to the American Airlines counter and they had messed up my first name, last name. They go, we have you here as Mr. Sabir bin Muhammad Khairul Anwar. I'm like, no, it's Muhammad Khairul Anwar bin Muhammad Sabir.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
They're very strict about these
They're
things.
like, you better change this now because the Department of Homeland Security is not going to let you in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the ticketing counter? They go, it's closed. It's midnight.
Oh my gosh.
So it was midnight and the ticketing counter was closed. I'm like, what's my option? They say, there's a payphone there. And I still have a selfie that I took at the booth because it was so surreal.
Yeah.
It's in my phone. There's a payphone. They go, you have to change your notes to coins, pay the payphone, call America, your agent in America, and change every ticket you've bought. That was 6 tickets.
Gosh.
So I like, where can I leave my luggage? You can't leave your luggage at midnight. So I pulled my Instax, my Polaroid. I had my Polaroid and my laptop. I had my, I had bought everything.
You have your life.
I had my life, Naz, I have a picture because I laughed my butt off.
Again, timestamp.
At the airport because I said, because I had sold all my comics.
Yeah.
I had nothing left, bro. Literally, I said, my life is in these 3 bags. These 3 Zalora bags that I bought online had my life. My laptop, my tablet, my clothes, my extra shoes, and my camera. That's all I had. And so I dragged those 3 suitcases with me all over Changi Airport, Terminal 1, Terminal 3, Terminal 2, just to get change. Ended up going to Subway, paying for a drink for like $3 and get $10 in coins.
Oh my gosh.
Went back to Terminal 3, okay? Got a text saying, hey, the Thor Ragnarok trailer is out. I'm like, shut up. You know? It was an emotional day because I told Jim I may never come back. And Jim was just devastated. It was my best friend. Picked up the phone, put in the coin. Where would you like to call? Thank. I was on the phone with the American sales agent for an hour and had to top up $50 every time.
Oh my gosh.
I had to keep topping up. And then they say, all your tickets, at the end they go, all your tickets have been changed.
Okay.
I'm like, great. I hang up and I go, the counter's closed for me to check in.
It's just one thing after
It's just
another
one thing
for
after
you.
the other. So I sit down and watch the Thor Ragnarok trailer.
Okay.
Next early check-in opens at 3 a.m.
Okay.
3 a.m. I go there. They check the system. Everything's okay.
All right.
They check me in. I sit down and I finally get some shut-eye. 5 o'clock, Changi Airport Police, which they do a routine check. They wake everybody up and they say, we need to see your ID, your boarding pass, everything. Just so you're not a stowaway or whatever. I couldn't sleep after that. So I sat down at Yakun Kaya.
Yeah. I know which one. I know where exactly.
In Terminal 2, because I was going to take a Japan Airlines flight out.
Okay.
Waited there. Flight was at 8 a.m. Called my dad, called my mom. I said, love you guys. Going to get on the plane. I should be transiting Narita. Then I'll be heading to Orlando. Now, in Orlando, all I had was an Airbnb. That's all I had. I had a pass. I proudly display that pass in one of my frames.
Okay.
I had a pass to a Star Wars convention. This is a true story. And if people go like, your life should be a movie, this should be the movie. All I had was a reference number to an Airbnb from a person I never met.
You are living on the edge, my friend.
Like I could have been kidnapped and killed.
Yeah.
And I told him to pick me up at the airport.
You told them to... They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this guy, his name was Victor. He was like, I will pick you up at the airport, from the airport and bring you to my house for $15. It's a complete stranger. I landed Japan in Narita. I'm starving. I couldn't eat anything on the flight because they didn't have the halal option.
Yeah.
So I had a chocolate cake in Narita airport and I had some water and I got on the flight another 8 hours to Orlando. And I arrived at Orlando 11 p.m. at night. I exit Orlando airport. Some guy's there with a piece of paper with my name on it. I go, Victor? He goes, I don't know how to say your name. I'm like, so it turns out he's Puerto Rican.
Okay.
And I go, it's Khairul. Oh, okay, I call you K. I'm like, yes. Get in his car, complete stranger. He says, I'm bringing you to my house.
Yes, he is.
I'm like, I could die.
Yeah.
I could literally die right now.
This is the end of the movie.
That's it. Turns out he's a nice family man. Wow. He goes, I have 2 daughters. And then he's got a picture of daughters. He's got a picture of Jesus. He goes, I got 2 daughters. I also worship Jesus. Yeah. What brings you to, Florida? I'm like, oh, Star Wars convention. It's Star Wars. Yeah, mini robots. Nice guy. Drives me to his house where he made the guest bedroom and Airbnb. And I sit down and it hits me like the Millennium Falcon that I'm in America.
Yeah.
The land that I've been thinking about since I was a kid.
Yeah. For a Star Wars convention.
For a Star Wars convention, Nazri.
Yeah.
And the first person I call is my mom.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm in America. She's sobbing nonstop. She's like, I always knew you would leave. I'm like, shut up. You know, she's crying. My brother's like, what's it like? I'm like, the air is different.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this mythical story. The next person I call, Isaiah, a good friend of mine, he goes, bro, you're in America for Star Wars? Well, yeah. Dude, I love you. Don't die.
Yeah.
Those were the words. And I call my dad. My dad's in tears. He goes, I'm so proud of you. Just have fun.
To be in America.
So the next day, I knock out for like hours.
Yeah.
I wake up at 12 and I get an email from the organizer saying, come to the Orange County Convention Center. Come by here at before a certain time. You know, you got to pick up your pass and badge. This is going to be the most unbelievable part of anything I'll tell you. So I tell the guy, Victor, I say, hey, Victor, I need you to Uber me to the Orange County Convention Center. But I heard there's a halal burger place nearby, O-Town Burgers. I really wanted to try an American burger.
Okay.
So it brings me by $11 for a meal. I pick it up.
Okay.
I arrive at Orange County Convention Center. It hasn't hit me yet. Okay. Now there's a picture on my Instagram of when it did hit me. So it's like 6 p.m. I arrive there, and he drops me off, and I see you know Star Wars fans and whatnot. And I'm
you were going to say nerds.
I was going to say nerds. I'm climbing up like a little mound of grass, and I think it must have been an 80-foot poster of Luke Skywalker.
Wow.
It's just I'm climbing up, and it's like 80 foot. Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Rey, Han Solo. I stopped.
Yeah.
And I took a picture. And I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies.
Yes.
You recently produced, wrote, and released one.
Did I?
What was that like?
So challenging. Like acting in it was fun. I always think like acting is the easiest thing I can do. But I also executive produced it. I wrote it, which also means I was the person who had to make sure this thing gets a public release. Like, so that was so challenging because I have a temper. And every time I felt the production wasn't up to what I wanted, I would be visibly angry on set because it was such a personal story to me.
For the people listening right now,
Yeah.
role as executive producer, break that down in like a simple term. What is the executive producer?
You put in money to make it happen.
For sure. And if you don't make money out of it, you don't get your money back.
No. And I put in cash, cold hard cash into Kopi. And so on the one front, I was trying to make my money's worth. On the one front, I was trying to tell a good story. It's just, that was like, there were nights when I'd stay up wondering, is this ever going to see the light of day?
Yeah.
Because once picture wrap, that wasn't the thing, was it? Like there was still pickup shots. There was COVID, you know, there was so many things to deal with. And at the end of the day, would the cinemas even care to play your film? That was not a challenge. That took another 4 months. So in hindsight, would I do it again? For sure.
Yeah.
Would I do it differently? Absolutely. Do I want to go through it again?
Yeah.
No.
You said that this was a story that was close to your heart.
Yes.
For the people who haven't seen Kopi,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Also, you know, we know that it's a story that almost mirrors your dad's life and your dad's upbringing and your dad's journey into Brunei. Was it extra difficult to shoot something that was not only written by yourself, but a little bit more close to home?
Believe it or not, shooting it, like being in the frames, didn't feel difficult. Because Shafi Mostar was there and he knew my dad in the years that I was telling the story.
He did?
He did. He knew my dad in the
Wow.
70s. So I would, like, for example, do a scene of me walking and he would get really like stunned. And I'd be like, are you okay, uncle? He'd be like, I just saw your father just for a glimpse. You know, so that I think, if anything, brought me closer to my dad's past.
Yeah.
So no, shooting it wasn't difficult, but watching it was.
Do you think, we asked Dan, who's another filmmaker as well, do you think someone can make a living shooting movies or films in Brunei?
In Brunei, right now, no, but very soon, yes.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't want to oversell Kopi, but the odds were stacked against it. And I think a lot of people weren't expecting anything. But I think I found two things today. I found two things over the last couple of weeks that made me feel, you know what? Maybe we did the right thing.
Yeah.
There was a discussion on Reddit about Bruneian films, and a few people said, you know what? They should watch Kopi. Like you had some Reddit people who are famously labeled to be angry and judgmental, and they were like, you know what, Kopi was a good movie. Why haven't we supported that? And I thought like this is some stranger on the internet saying this. And this morning I found out somebody pirated Kopi to Telegram.
Wow.
I just,
That's when you know you've made it.
oh, I don't know if I would say that, but like my friend in Malaysia goes, bro, like I'm at a seminar and I'm showing off the poster to my like people here, and this lady from Singapore says, oh, I watched it on Telegram 2 days ago. That's a good Brunei movie.
Wow.
And I was like, who the hell is putting it on Telegram?
That is crazy,
That's
right?
so crazy. Yeah, I can show you the text.
Well done, Khai.
Thanks.
Now, if we switch gears a little bit,
Yes.
because you have your hands in a lot of businesses, a lot of things that you're juggling.
Yeah.
For someone who's trying to jump into a business, what are some things they should look out for?
Look out for or no is the number one thing you need to look out for is the commitment you're going to be giving that. Like this is 10 years in. Like this journey of mine is 10 years in. DotRoot is 9 years. Midnight Media is 2-ish. 80 Comics is 3. Like, the time flies by so fast. So that's one thing. Number 2 is your competition, of course. You got to look out for your competition. Like if you think Brunei's big enough, I'm so sorry to say this. If you think Brunei's big enough for many same businesses to exist, you're very naive. It will be a cutthroat industry, regardless of what industry you're in. Other than oil and gas, I cannot see a lot of businesses coexisting peacefully. And the third and final one is you have to look out for the line. And when I say the line, I mean the line at which you say you've done all you can. Do you pack up or do you push more?
Fair enough.
That's the border. Do you depart? You pusing balik or you go forward?
Yeah.
That's very important.
You've had some successes. You had some losses as well. I know of personally as well. What are some red flags someone should keep an eye out for when they're about to jump into something?
If they're about to jump into something, number one, and my dad always used to say this, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Like if it sounds unbelievable, it's unbelievable. All right, that's a red flag. The other red flag is if you think you have a $1 billion idea, but nobody believes in it or people are telling you otherwise, chances are they're right. Because you can get so lost. And I know most people would say the opposite thing. It's like, even if nobody believes in you, you should believe in yourself. But that's also called delusion. We got to check ourselves. Like, if you think like 100 people are telling you it's not going to work, maybe, just maybe, the 100 people know something you don't. Maybe you're just too deep into this.
Yeah.
And the number one, I guess the number 3 red flag, going from the other side, is if you're doing it just for the money or the money you think you're going to make, you better have a backup.
Yeah.
Because it's not always like that.
Also, I think one of the things you touched on is it's so easy to have blinders on, right?
Oh,
especially when you're working with a close friend.
Yeah.
Or,
oh my God. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say this really carefully, but like I have literally been pitched a pyramid scheme. Someone pitched me a pyramid scheme, knowing it's a pyramid scheme.
Oh.
Yeah. An MLM.
They knew.
They know. And I'm of the belief, if you believe in it, you go for it, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So it's just like, wow, it's a lot to process.
I feel like you've had so much experience and experiences in this world, this business world.
Sure.
Right? So even with all the businesses that you have, all the, juggling that you do, all the writing that you do, all the acting that you do, all the movie that you released at Times Square.
Okay.
We're talking
Which is
about,
also getting a re-release, by the way.
Okay. All these things, you had everything lined up for you when you touched down in America.
I did.
You've had these opportunities. I mean, even with all these things under your belt, all these things that are in your arsenal, do you ever feel like an imposter? Do you ever feel like you're not good enough? Do you ever feel like you're making an impact? That you're not making enough of an impact to make it count?
I think imposter syndrome, I tie it to an existential identity crisis. Like, I know they call it imposter syndrome, but I think it's simplifying something very complicated. Like, I consider myself a businessman. I do. I know I'm good at business. Like, I mean, otherwise I wouldn't make it. It's not exactly very far, but like I wouldn't be standing today if I wasn't a decent businessman at least. there are many times where my aspirations and my talent doesn't match. Like, I'm going to be honest right now. In an ideal world, I would just like to act because it brings me no stress. I can literally, like, remember we had a little shoot for one of your clients. I was so chilled. I don't know if you noticed that. I wasn't on edge or I wasn't worried about the shots or the colors or whatever. I was just like, I'm just here to act.
Yeah.
Right? And that brings me a lot of peace. Reading lines, acting like something, and going home and sleeping. That's like, I don't think I'm talented enough to do that. So I don't know if it's imposter syndrome as more as it's an identity crisis. Like, but I am a businessman. Why am I acting?
Yeah.
And so immediately you start setting up your own like obstacles. Like, no, you have people who depend on you for pay.
Your own barriers.
You have to go get this contract. You have to go get that contract. So I go through moments where I tell myself I should be able to do everything. But then they're followed shortly after by moments that says, but you shouldn't be doing everything.
I kind of want people to know when they tune into this podcast that even guys who have accomplished what you've accomplished still feel the same way. And these are the same feelings that people will go through when...
I think you will always feel that because if something means a lot to you, it's like you and magic.
Yeah.
I know you and I have had conversations about, live shows.
Yeah.
I do stand-up comedy. You know, it takes no effort.
Yeah.
The other night we did a Halloween themed one. Bro, I had one keyword.
Yeah.
And I did a 1 hour set. It takes me no effort to do that because I don't hold it in the same esteem as I hold writing or acting.
Yeah.
And I know it's for you, it's magic, and it means a lot to you. So the moment you start feeling like I'm not the best, because guys like us, it's like if I'm not like the best like actor since Al Pacino, I don't want to do it. It's if it means something to you, then of course it will hurt more.
Yeah.
But it's closing your eyes and pushing through the doubt to continue being good. That's the toughest part.
Do you ever feel like you make an impact?
I don't think so. I'm being honest. I'm not just saying this for like people to go like, but what are you talking about? Like, there's a quote from one of my favorite musicians of all time, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. He said, I don't believe in myself. I don't. This is the truth. I believe in everybody around me. Like, I believe in you, dude. I believe in like my colleagues. I believe in my friends. I don't believe in myself because I think it's too much time to waste to have faith in yourself. So I believe in the stuff I do.
So here's a little surprise that we do for all of our guests on season 1. Because it's so easy to feel like you're not accomplishing enough or you're not good enough or you've never
like American
made...
Idol. So Simon Cowell gonna come out and just be like, you call that a career?
Like, to feel like you've never had an impact or I shouldn't be betting on myself, that sort of thing. So... we decided...
I don't like where this is going.
...to reach out to people in your circle.
Oh my God, what? Why?
And we asked them the question...
No need. That's the end of Nazi Presents.
How has Khai impacted your life
I don't need to know this.
With what he does?
Oh God, I'm so uncomfortable. I don't need to know this. I don't need to know this.
The first time I've seen him just be physically uncomfortable.
I'm so uncomfortable right now. I feel violated.
Okay, so... the first person we reached out to was a guy by the name of Azmi Lobo.
Oh, that idiot, yeah.
So this is what he has to say about you.
Oh, God.
Oh, let me just...
Hey, Donut Boy. I've known Khai for more than 10 years now. In that time, I've always admired his work ethic. The fact that he's never satisfied with what he's done.
Yeah, you would know that.
Or is always looking for the next challenge. If there's one thing that I've learned from him is to be a fearless negotiator. Because part of my job is meeting people and I've always taken cue or tried to copy on how I would think Khai does it on a daily basis. His advices about my work has once or twice helped me out of a jam, so I'm thankful to him. I know he sometimes doesn't see what he's accomplished so far, but to the rest of us watching, you're doing all right, buddy. I guess that's all for me now. Take care, guys.
Okay, yeah, no, that's enough.
How'd that make you feel?
Azmi and I have a very special relationship because we were both truly lost at the same point in our life. And I remember it was one night in Singapore when he was living there where we just had coffee at Coffee Bean at Orchard Road. I didn't realize that 4 hours had gone by because he was struggling with being a father. And I was struggling with all the losses I was going through. And he was the fourth person I called when my father passed away. And he knew. Like, he knew why that call came through. And the next day, it was COVID, like middle of wave 2. But he was just like, dude, wherever you want a tahlil, I will go there. So we had a tahlil right here for my father in the middle of COVID. And I'm not even sorry. Like that was my duty as a son. So I truly love that man. He's a good guy.
Did you ever feel like you had an impact like that on him?
No, but I know it's one of those friendships that you don't have to say it. Like, if he's the kind of guy like I would take a bullet for, and I know he would do the same thing. Hopefully we're not in a battlefield, but that would be stupid. But
I then reached out to someone that is kind of new to your circle.
Oh my God.
Someone, so, Azmi's a friend of yours that has been around for a while.
Yeah.
I decided to, the team and I decided to reach out to someone who you have just gotten to know.
Oh my God.
Sort of helped out. You might know him as Bumpy.
Oh.
This is what Bumpy had to say.
Meeting Khai was the best decision I've made this year because I knew he would be the right person to work with, and I was right about him. He's an amazing person to work with. I've developed so much through his work, gained a little experience, which he's someone that I would want to work with in the long run. I hope he keeps on doing whatever he's doing. He's a genius. He's my bro for life.
I am a genius though. I'm just kidding. This is how I deal with emotions. Why would you put me through this? I love the guy.
I just want you to know that you've impacted people around you.
Oh my God, dude.
You've helped people elevate. You've helped people out of jams. And I just need you to see that.
Okay.
That you have impacted people's lives.
I appreciate that.
Then we reached out to one final person.
Oh my God. Why'd there have to be 3?
You might know her as Kat.
Oh, no way.
And
you didn't do this. Don't do this. Why would you do this?
Here's what Kat had to say about you.
Carol, one of the things I admire and respect most about you is your integrity. I see it in everything you do, from your tremendous work ethic. You are truly one of the hardest working people I have ever known, through to the standards you set for yourself in your writing, your performing, all of the things that you do and all of the ways that you refuse mediocrity. It does mean you are very seldom fully satisfied with the things you achieve, but I also know it means that you will continue to do great things in good ways. Also, you are very handsome.
I agree with that second part. I'm a good-looking dude. I appreciate it, but I cannot dwell on this.
I think I want the people who sit on this couch for the podcast, I want them, there are days where we feel like, I'm not speaking for myself, but I'm sure there are days where you feel that you're not doing enough, or, you could be doing more, or are you impacting enough people to make this worthwhile? And I wanted to give a gift.
Thank you.
That when you leave today, that you don't have to impact everyone. You've already impacted 3 people here in your life with what you do on an everyday basis.
It's funny because I'm having one of the worst weeks of my life right now. I haven't slept since last night. So thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah. I hate being put in this position, but I'm trying to be better about it. While we're on that, not that I'm trying to hijack it, but I hope you know. No, Naz, you gotta hear this, bro. Like, the amount of respect I know, not only me, but like everybody in this room has for you. Like, I hope some of us are willing to take a bullet for you and fight by your side till the end. Like, I hope you know that.
I appreciate it, man. I hope so. I appreciate it.
Because when somebody came up to me and said Nazri was picky, I went nuts like a dog. I was barking. I was like, yeah, well, he's got a standard. I hope you know that, like, whenever I feel like, what am I doing or whatever, I would come across your IG story or like something you'd post and I go like, why can't I be like this guy?
I go through yours sometimes, and I say,
why don't I have a cowboy hat? You know?
well, I kind of grow a mustache like Khai.
No,
I appreciate it, Khai.
Legit, dude. Like sometimes
means a lot.
I'd be in the gutter and I'd be like, you know what? Here's this guy, father, husband, son, juggling responsibilities I can never juggle, and he's still being kind and positive about it. So
it's all an illusion, Khai.
the greatest trick you ever pulled.
Correct.
Yeah.
Khai, let's sort of wrap things up here. You know, I want this podcast to be a database for people in the future, 10, 20, 30 years from now, that are going on a similar journey as you are.
At which point I would hopefully be dead.
And, you know, hoping to start something, hoping to partner up with someone for business, hoping to, you know, blaze a new trail. What's one tip you could leave with them?
Man, I think it kind of brings our discussion full circle when we talked about, you know, you start dying the day you were born, right? And that for me, like, I was just having this conversation the other day. It's just, my memory is really good. I remember everything that's ever happened in my life. And time hasn't taken that away. But what time has taken away is itself, time itself. So all I can say is, if you're trying to do something different, if you're trying to make whatever it is you want to do, like, you want to sit at home and do nothing, or you want to go out there and conquer the world, hopefully, like, not Elon Musk, but that is so valuable. Time. Do not waste it. Yeah. I've wasted so much time for so many wrong reasons that sometimes I wish I had a bit more of it. So, you know, you start dying the day you're born, so seriously, start living. And with that, that is the end of the episode. Thank you very much, Mr. Khai Anwar. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. That was emotionally like an ambush.